Hi guys, and welcome to part 4 of the Coke build series. This one is rear suspension and drive axles. So, um, as you've probably noticed, the rear suspension is made. I did that off camera just because it was a little bit fiddly and also quite simple, really, to put together. So, Um, just for speed and ease, really, I did that off camera, and now just connecting it to the chassis, it does go together quite simple. Um, there's one main rod that just goes through each part of the suspension and through the center of the chassis. It's then clipped at the other end um, to keep it in place. So as you can see now, the rod's just going through the suspension. Um, yeah, you then just secure the nut in place, and then the suspension for both rear axles is then on. It's actually quite a simple step, really. Um, it is a lock nut, I believe, that goes on the end of the rod. Um, it's probably the best nut to use, really. I mean, it does then stay in place, as the name suggests. It does lock, so yeah, the suspension is then like free moving on the chassis. Now moving on to the next part is actually fitting um, the rear axles. Again, for this, the rear axles were made off camera. This was because uh, the rear axles do each have a diff in them, and putting the diff together and then putting it in the case that creates the axle, it's quite a fiddly process, and I couldn't really see an easy way of doing it on camera and having the camera angle in such a way that you'd also be able to get a good look. So again, I did that off camera. Um, Following the instructions, it does go together fairly easily. Um, it's not really too challenging. So yeah, there wasn't any desperate need to have like a how-to video or anything for that. So now using a few screws and some thread lock, you just screw each axle onto the suspension. There's two screws on each side for each axle, so 4 screws per axle and 8 screws total. Um, the fittings that it goes into are threaded, so it doesn't require any nuts. It just taps straight in. As you can see from this bit of video, I did have a few problems getting it to line up. That was partly because I don't usually do that with it on a table. I'm usually like holding the chassis in the air and putting the screws through. So yeah, it was a bit different for me, and kind of a different challenge of doing it on camera. So I was quite conscious of keeping it all in the camera angle. Yeah, once you've got the one screw in, the others do all go together fairly easily. Uh, Also, as it is a standard 6x4 setup, the axles do all go in um, standard ways and everything. Um, if you're converting a truck to maybe a 6x2 setup, so you're just using the one axle. If it's not if it's not a 4x2 kit that you've got, if you've got a 6x4 that you're using as a base, and then just swapping the first drive axle um, for a tag axle, then you may experience problems when you come to drive it, as each diff does kind of like change the direction of the prop shaft, so it'll be spinning in opposite directions. So you will need to account for that when you're putting the axles in. And an easy fix really is literally just to put the axle in upside down, as it then means the wheels would then be spinning in the right direction. You wouldn't have to uh, mess with like reverse switches or anything on a transmitter. So yeah, I mean, as this is a 6x4 setup, I don't need to do any of that. The axles do just fit straight in. I do tend to take my time with the drive line fitting, as it is quite easy to put something in and then like either need to take it out, or something else then won't fit or something. So I do try and take my time with it and just get it all right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll just speed it up for this bit of the video, and yeah, just get through it a bit quicker, I think. Okay, and so now the video is coming to a close. The two axles are fitted, and yeah, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 5 coming up shortly.